Okay, so today we're going to go over Shift Note that's going to be connected to the DTR. So we're going to be in the fake program. Managers, if you're reviewing this at a staff meeting with your teams, please make sure that as this video is being shown, after the video, you can go through the steps one more time with your team with a live person in the live program. Okay, so we're going to go in on do daily tracking record. Click on that. I'm going to pick an individual with a goal. I'm going to pause here and I'm going to let you guys know that if you are overnight staff, or this is for all overnight staff, managers, you might want to pause here and indicate who your overnight staff are. You also may want to just remind those staff who sub out. For overnight staff, the responsibilities of making sure to select a proper date. So this video is being recorded at 11:15. I apologize, at 10:39 a.m. on 11/15/2018. So it automatically defaults to today's date. If I work the overnight shift, I need to select this date, calendar, and I need to select the 14th because that's the date the shift started. I came in last night. I worked the 14th into the 15th. Notice that 11/15/2018 at 11 p.m. has not happened yet. 11 p.m. has happened on the 14th. Okay, so again, managers, you may want to pause here and review this with your staff just to make sure that the date is really being understood here. Okay, moving on. We're going to hit continue. This individual hasn't flipped because there's two goals, right? But let's pretend the person has flipped. So the goal is to maximize independence and maintaining the home, and then here is the actual objective and how the staff are supposed to help this person with their goals. Okay, so we already know how to do this part. The rating scale I'm going to select based on the level of support that I provided, the highest level of support I provided throughout the entire shift, okay? Maybe the shift most of the time was just supervision. Maybe most of the shift was visual cues. But at some point throughout the day, I provided physical prompts. Or at some point throughout the day, I actually needed hand over hand. Whatever the highest level of rating scale, that's what you're going to select. And for here, let's just say physical prompts. Notice that we also have away and refused. It's very hard to indicate refused for an entire shift. They did not refuse the entire shift unless they did. Then you have to really write a note saying that all the things you've done. Only away is to be used when somebody is actually not in the program during your entire shift. If they were not there for the entire shift, it's away. If they were there the beginning of the shift or the end of the shift, it's still a shift no. Okay, refused. You're going to indicate if they refuse. If you do select this, again, I caution you against it. I caution you against it because the resident refused the entire shift to work on anything. A hard sell, a really hard sell. But if they did, you still have to do step 2 and step 3. You don't have to just hit X and then think you're done. No, you have to indicate what you've done, how you tried to redirect the person, how you got this person to try to engage them in any activity. All the things you did to try to attempt to get them to work, even though they may have continuously refused. You have to indicate all that. Event is never to be used for residential program. Event is there for day programming. Okay, there's just one rating scale list for all programs. So please do not use event for residential programming. This is for when the Way Center has an event that takes the entire day. That is what that's there for. It is not for residential programs. So I should not be seeing event as a rating scale used in any residential program. Okay, so again, refusal, I still need to know. I need to know what you've done, how you worked with that person, how you try to redirect them. Away, you do nothing else. Okay, away, you continue, and you're done. Never use event. That is for day programming only. Okay, let's move on. Physical prompts. Hit continue. The screen has blinked, and now it's a hyperlink. I'm now going to select a hyperlink. You'll notice the service type and the date have been locked. I cannot change that. Also, service plan linked has been locked. And this is because I went through the DTR, okay? You cannot change the date in this mode here. I'm going to hit this program site. And in this step 2, this is step 2, to get to step 3, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the date. So let's say, or the time. Let's say the shift started at 9 p.m. I'm sorry, 10 p.m. 10 p.m. on the 14th. You notice 10 p.m. on the 15th has not happened yet. So you can't put 10 p.m. for the 15th because that time hasn't happened yet according to when this video was recorded, right? So here we got 11:15 at 10:45 a.m. I cannot put 10 p.m. because that has not happened yet. That is fraud. Okay, this now can span over 2 days. So let's say the shift ends at 9 a.m. I'm going to get this pop-up. You're going to see this pop-up too. You're about to write a note that spans more than 1 day. Yes, that is exactly what we're doing. We are writing a note that's spanning 2 days, 10 p.m. on the 14th into the 15th, 8 a.m. Okay? That's 11 hours. Contact method is in person. Here, the include. Now, let me just remind you that the training fake program has everything turned on, all the bells and whistles. When you are in your program, you're only going to see one item to select here. So let me caution you. I'm about to select include. It's going to be a list of items. The training residential program has everything turned on. You're only going to see this now, residential shift note. I'm going to make sure I select that, and then I'm going to hit continue. I'm going to pause here and look. Make sure everything has been completed. Okay, make sure your start and end time is accurate. Make sure the duration makes sense. Contact method is in person. Okay, it's this program site. You used physical prompts. Notice here it says residential shift note. If I scroll down, here is the new form. Okay, now, please, 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 do not just scroll through, go click, 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 click as fast as you can. Please, this is not a race. It's really important that you document all that apply. It's important that you read everything. Things are embedded here to help you. Instructions are here to help you. If you don't read them, then it serves no purpose. I need you guys to take your time with this. Please note that when Medicaid does come out, they're going to select a program. They're going to select a resident. They're going to select dates. They're going to say, on this month, for this resident, show me the following date progress notes. We're going to have to produce a report. They're going to read every single note from the date range that they asked us to report. They're going to read everything. So I need to let you guys know, Medicaid is going to read your notes. Please, you are the owner of your notes. Please make sure you're doing them accurately. Please make sure it makes sense. And please make sure you're documenting everything you've done on that shift with those individuals. Okay? This is per individual, one at a time, but it's one note at the end of each shift, no longer two notes. With one note, this serves as the progress note and the daily log. Again, managers, you need to drive this home in terms of taking our time, making sure things are documented. Your managers are going to be reviewing your data. They're going to check to make sure all that you've selected makes sense. Please don't create more work for yourself by having to come in and edit things you've done. Okay. So now this has been broken down into 3 categories. Describing the shift, activities of self-care, activities of daily living, and social skills activities, okay? So, all are required to have answers. If you don't select, got to write asterisk. If you don't select anything or document anything, you're going to get an error message. Notice that the language is based on what you provided the resident. Okay, you administered medication, right? Administered med. Assistant resident with hygiene. Assistant resident with adaptive equipment. Assistant resident with taking inventory of P&A items, such as deodorant, shampoo, body wash, toothbrush, or toothpaste. Please be mindful that these items for the residents should never be on the weekly or bi-weekly ShopRite orders. These are to be purchased by the individuals with their individual funds. These items are never to be on the ShopRite list. It's important that staff, when they are providing hygiene tasks, assistance, that as you're doing it, take note of the inventory. Take note of it. If you're assisting somebody, they're in the shower, you're using the shampoo and the conditioner, you're noticing that the shampoo is getting a little low, check to see if they have any more shampoo. If they don't, guess what? They're going to need more shampoo. So you're going to want to indicate that. Okay. Assistant resident with adaptive equipment. Managers, after I explain this, I need you to pause this video and I need you to go over the adaptive equipment specific to your site. There are a few programs where there is no adaptive equipment, therefore you do not need to pause. But for those other programs that do have adaptive equipment, you need to pause this video now so that you can go over which adaptive equipment you have. Please note, adaptive equipment is anywhere from a wheelchair all the way to dentures and everything in between. Okay, so it is really important that your staff know what the adaptive equipment is at your site. Okay, so go ahead and pause. Okay, moving on now. Provide care with medical needs. This is anything deemed medical. Changing a bandage, like dressings, right? So a dressing could be an ACE bandage. It could be gauze on like somebody had surgery and you might need to change the gauze once a week or whatnot. Icing an area. Let's say somebody needs to have an area iced. Maybe, basic first aid was administered and anything else needs medical. Okay. If I select other, I'm going to write what other is. So I've already written something out. So let's say the residents are independent. I don't need to administer medication. I don't need to assist in hygiene. The resident does not have any adaptive equipment. So what do? Right? Let's say I asked the resident about their inventory and they told me, oh, my inventory, my shampoo, my conditioner, all that is good. And you might want to just put here, you selected that because the resident even told you. Otherwise, you can keep it blank. Other, I wrote here, resident is self-medicating. Okay. Self-medicating and was able to work on hygiene skills independently. Yeah, it has a dot, but it should say independently. Okay, so this is what I wrote. Resident self-medicated. So they administered their own medication and was able to work on hygiene skills. And I notice hygiene, the word hygiene is right here. Okay, so just be mindful of spelling. Okay, activities of daily living. Assistant resident with meal prep. Assistant resident with setting the table. Assistant resident with house chores. Assistant resident with making a purchase. Money management. Fire drill. House cleaning. Medical equipment. Laundry. Menu planning. This is also to get you guys to think about how we're supposed to be working with our individuals, okay? Staff may come in and just automatically just start making dinner, start making everything, and not really engaging residents in, hey, why don't you help me make the salad? Or we're going to make a side dish now. Why don't you help me make a side dish? These are all things that we should be doing with the residents to get them a little bit more independent. So we really want to see a lot of assisting residents with meal prepping and setting up the table. It's their home. They should be doing these things. Some houses are doing this brilliantly. Residents are in the kitchen. They have their day of the week that they're in there serving. They're in there assisting. They have their day a week that they're setting up the table. So some programs are doing this so well. Other programs I come in and I see staff are just going right into making dinner and not really having any residents in there helping them at all. So it really is important to try to get, when possible, when appropriate, and when safe, to have residents assisting with meal prep. Okay, so now if I select other, because let's say some individuals don't need assistance in any of these things, Not many programs I can say where a resident doesn't need assistance in any of these things, okay? So let's keep that in mind. So I'm going to indicate here what another thing might be, right? So I might put independently made salad and set the table for, well, let's see. I'm going to say I'm doing this for breakfast. Independently made toast for everyone and set the table. Okay, so that resident was able to do that independently. There wasn't a fire drill or house meeting that occurred. Okay, again, if the person is not independent in any of these things, I'm selecting all that apply. So do meal prep, table setting, maybe the house chores to make a meal, and so that's the chore. Money management, no medical appointment, but let's say they did their laundry first in the morning before they went to the program. That seems a little difficult, but or maybe let's take that out and put assisted resident with menu planning, right? So maybe they say, hey, you know what? I saw on the menu that we have eggs twice this week. Maybe we can switch one out, right? That's menu planning. Okay, now we have social skills activities. So we assisted the resident with goals, recreational activities, socializing with housemates, socializing with visitors, big one. Someone comes in to visit one or all residents. Even if someone comes in to visit one resident, as other residents are walking about the house, it's really important that we teach appropriate and normal socialization skills. So if someone were to come into my house and they were visiting one of my family members or a housemate, I'll use a different word, I'm still going to acknowledge that person being in the house, being in my home. Hello, how are you? Okay, this is normalization. So we should be doing things like that as well with our residents. So socializing with visitors, and that's as simple as saying hi. Assist a resident with writing cards or emails, okay? We could be doing that with our individuals as well, even if they just draw a picture and they mail it out, that's fine. Especially around holidays and birthdays. It's really nice for family members to get those things. Little acts that are not necessarily thought of, but when they are done, the family members cherish. So it's really important that we start doing more of those. Assisting a resident with making phone calls. Assisting a resident at a restaurant or at a social event, which is a party or dance, right? That's also a vacation, right? Sometimes you might be going to a hotel and you say hello to the receptionist and things like that, okay? Assist a resident with transportation to or from a program, either or. Assistant resident with developing their calendar or activity list. And then, of course, there's other for those individuals who do these things independently. You're going to indicate what they did independently during the shift. Okay, so I'm going to select, I worked with this resident with a goal because, after all, I am in the DTR and I am in the progress note and I have a goal, right? So I'm documenting a goal. So I am going to select assistant resident with goals. It should always be selected. Managers, please say this again. Social resident, assistant resident with goals in the social skill activities. They should always be selected. Okay. Assistant resident with recreational activities. Assistant resident with socializing with housemates. That's as simple as breakfast time. Hey, how are you? Good morning. I'm getting ready to go to program. Oh, you look nice today. Things like that. Okay. Did you sleep well? All these things. That's socializing with housemates for the overnight shift. Assistant resident with writing cards or emails. So, let's see. Yes, okay. I already went over that. All right. Assistant resident developing their calendars and then other. Okay. So, we're going to select all that apply here, okay? Let's say they need to go on respirational. Socializing with housemates, saying hello, good morning for breakfast. And we did not provide transportation. I might put other here. Day program picked up resident. Now, I'm writing resident. You guys can write the person's name. So I'm doing this for Frodo. Picked up Frodo. Day program came, so the day program picked up Frodo. I did not provide that transportation. Again, this is for the overnight shift. Okay, now, please, again, I cannot reiterate this enough times. Please read this information here. It's there to help you. This information, I end up writing it here to help you and to remind you. It is instructional only. There's nothing for you to enter or edit. If you don't read it and you don't follow a protocol, I can't help you. I cannot help you, okay? There are things here to remind you. If you assist a resident with hygiene, shower, bathing, or dressing, a body skin check is required, okay? Please, it's required. PRN medication administered. Self-medicating individuals still need staff to administer oral PRN medication when needed in accordance with the over-the-counter form and any prescription oral PRN medication. Someone has a headache and you give them Tylenol as per their OTC, you have to administer that even if they're self-medicating. If you administer PRN medication, documentation is needed in 3 locations. This is a reminder. You need to document in the front of the MAR and the back of the MAR describing the reason and outcomes. Administer Tylenol for headache. 4 hours go by. You ask the resident, do you still have a headache? Provided that the 4 hours is what's indicated in the OTC form. The resident says, I still have a headache. It still hurts. Guess what? The outcome was not effective. You administered a second dose of Tylenol. You're going to indicate that on the MAR again a second time. You're going to write in the back of the MAR a second time. First dose, it was not effective. Administered second dose. And you keep doing that until the person feels better. If the person's headache lingers over a day, maybe time to talk to the doctor about that. You are also going to document in the critical logbook. Again, if these 3 things are not followed when you are administering medication and you have completed this form, again, you have no excuse for not following it. It is documented right here for you to read. Okay? All incidents are to be documented in the incident module. You're not indicating here, you're not writing anything here about an incident. You're doing it in an incident module. That's where we want you to document it. Direct support staff are required to document all incidents in foothold awards. This is not something that you default to your manager or your assistant manager. If you were there, you were on the shift, you are responsible for documenting it. There is a different video on documenting incident reports. So you can go to that after this if this is part of your in-service plan. Again, here is another reminder. If an incident occurred during the shift, guess what? A note is to be entered in the critical logbook. Management is to be notified. You do not just write in your critical logbook and then never contact your manager. That's not the protocol. The protocol is your manager needs to be notified. Now, management, this is where you might want to pause and you might want to talk about how this notification is to be performed. Do you want a phone call? Do you want a text message? How is the communication relayed based on the level of incident? So now you might want to pause this and give your own specific direction on what you are expecting from your team regarding incident module. So go ahead and pause now and go over that. Okay, body skin check completed, yes or no? Obviously no is for anybody who does not need a body skin check. That's going to automatically be no. The only other time you're going to write no is if you did not perform a body skin check. If I did not select assisted with hygiene skills, I don't select that. I didn't help them with that. And I put no here, that's fine. That's okay because I didn't perform it. Let's say this person needs assistance, but I didn't provide the assistance. I am not the one that provided the assistance. It's okay to write no here, okay? Let me reiterate that. If I'm in here and I write, and I did not select that I assisted the resident with hygiene, And I cannot say that I've done a body skin check. If I select, though, in the reverse, let's say I take this out and this person is not independent, and I'm assisting with all these things, and I indicate I assisted the resident with hygiene tasks, then I'm going to need to hit here, yes, body skin check completed. The only time that that's appropriate to write no is if in assisting in hygiene tasks only means dental, but they really don't need assistance in bathing, then you might want to indicate that. But very rarely do we have an individual that needs assistance in brushing and not showering. So this is why that's expected. If yes, if I select yes here and I don't write anything here as to find the comment the markings found, then I'm going to get an error message. If you did not find anything, so again, we are trying to reduce the amount of time it takes you to fill out the form. So it's not a 3-step question anymore. It's just, did you complete it? If yes, comment markings found. If I did not find any markings, no markings found. Simple. Okay, we're not going to have a second question. If you did a body skin check, did you find anything? Yes or no? We've simplified it. Just, did you do one? Yes. If you did you find anything? What did you find? If you didn't find anything, no markings found. Okay? If you did find something, please indicate what that is. Okay? It's not just small red circle. It's not just scrape on arm. Again, this is you reporting to us the shift. So if Medicaid's going to ask questions, we're going to ask you questions. So it's important that you indicate everything that you've seen, just like before. What side of the body? Head, arm, back, which body part? Okay, so it's really important that we know what this is. Let's say I did find something. Left, back, shoulder, and I might put red shoulder, red circle, size of a dime. Okay, so I already know it's the left back shoulder. It's a red circle. It's about the size of a dime. So your manager might want to go in and check on that. Staff might look at it the next that evening. If they're showing them again, they might say, oh, you know, now they're documenting it, and now they say it's the size of a quarter. Well, as managers, if you're providing the oversight for this and you're reading all this, you should see like, oh, okay, so this morning it was the size of a dime, and this evening staff checked it and it's the size of a quarter. Okay, this is progressing. At that point, you may need to start telling people what's going on because there might be something more systemic happening, and you need to indicate or you need to get the medical team involved. So that's why it's really, really important to have all that. And as managers, it's really important that when you're providing that oversight that you're actually reading all these notes, because these are things that you need to be monitoring as well for the health and safety of the residents. So it's important that staff document this and document it accurately. It's equally important for management to be overseeing and reading these notes. Okay, enter the note in text box here. This is your DTR note. Okay, this is where goal, objective, service type. So his goal is independent in maintaining his home. Frodo will complete a household chore 5 times a week. Now we know that this is now a different type of goal because now we have goals that span the entire shift. So let's just indicate here, household chores. So I have that selected already. I assisted. What did you do? I assisted Frodo with sweeping and mopping the floor. To spell check, Frodo is going to automatically be deemed inappropriate or wrong because it's a proper noun. I don't need to make any changes. So I assisted Frodo with sweeping and mopping the floor. Frodo was able to complete this task effectively. I also assisted Frodo with his laundry. He was able to separate the light from the darks and was able to complete washing for both piles. Okay? So I'm indicating what I've done, what this person has done during the shift. Okay? I've also indicated the shift note here, everything that I've assisted with. Okay, I'm going to select here assisted resident with laundry too. I'm going to make sure I indicate that because I just said that in the note. Okay. If I assisted in any other area, you can add notes to it. Managers, you want to indicate here what kind of notes here might be effective based on the goals for your residents. This is where you will want to expand your in-service training and show the specifics of your goals pertaining to your house with your residents. So I hope this video is helpful. We're going to hit save. We're not going to lock the note because then we're not going to be able to do any future edits or deletions. And I'm going to save the note. I save the note and it goes back to this page. So just be mindful. You are going through steps 2 and step 3. If you have any questions, if you need any more assistance, this is where you will ask those questions with your manager. And if there's any questions they can't answer, an administrator usually is at a staff meeting and can assist in that way. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching and have fun documenting.